Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today is Vlogoween Day 8. This will probably go out later in the evening, and I apologize for that, but again, some days are just wild and crazy, and apparently this Sunday decided to step up and be one of them. Now for today's video, I kind of wanted to do, like, you could draw with me if you want to draw this bird, but I wanted to talk about extinct birds. And I wanted to do one that I think a lot of people don't talk nearly enough about. Obviously the dodo gets a ton of attention, and I think that's lovely and wonderful, and we should definitely have conversations about birds and extinction because birds go extinct all the time. I don't want this to be a downer of a conversation, but I want to talk about the great auk, and I'll throw up photos if I can. I'm just sharpening all over my desk. My desk is a mess at this point because I love it. And obviously the modern day version of this bird is penguins, and they lived in rocky areas surrounded by the sea. I've pulled out some colors I know I'm definitely going to use for this bird. So definitely black. I have Van Dyke brown. I have the carmine. This is a huge convenience color. This is going to save me a ton of time when illustrating this bird just because it's such a red that's almost brown. It's so warm. And then I have warm gray 5. So everything except the Van Dyke brown and the carmine. These came in the 36 set. I also have pulled out, who is this guy? Walnut brown. And then I need to figure out how I'm going to do the white area, because there is white on this bird, and I've pulled out cream. Gosh, I do this every time. Raw umber, and my eyes aren't having this one. I don't know, 187. I'll throw up what the name of that one is in the video. And these are going to be very, very light, probably with the warm gray, and that's how I'm going to denote white for this portion of the bird. Now the thing about this bird is, like, they knew it was going extinct and being hunted to extinction. And I know this whole thing is so sad. I don't want to do sad videos. So they banned the killing of the species. Great Britain, let's see, in 1794. Yeah, 1794. But they were almost extinct in the 1770s. And what gets me about this bird is, like, they know when the last one was killed. So the last one was killed in July of 1840. I will link the Wikipedia of this. I will throw up a picture of what the bird looks like. I am kind of looking at different photos and compiling and creating my own version of this bird. I'm not really doing one specific reference photo just because royalties. Royalties and creative freedoms and that sort of thing. But I wanted to show you, like, there's different versions of the bird with, like, speckling around the head. I will throw up that photo, which shows different versions of what, like, the eggs look like. And I think the eggs are very, very beautiful. So I need to make sure. I have a couple little lines drawn just so I want to make sure I'm filling the page properly. Some of these are getting kind of small on the page. I don't want to make sure I'm taking full advantage here of what I want this to look like and how big I want these things to be. But the thing about this bird that gets me is the beak. I am, like, absolutely, it reminds me of a penguin. It reminds me of a puffin. It's like a combination of the two. And I need to make this a little smaller so we have more beak here, just proportionally. Let's see. I'm obsessed with this bird. Like, everything about it just looks so cool. And I've drawn one of these before, and I don't remember if it was in 2021 or 2022, but it was in August. It was Smogust, and I was drawing animals and throwing, like, wings on them and calling them dragons. And this was one that I did because I just really like it. I've drawn so many dodo birds. Boy, I don't know if you can see this initial sketch. I'm just sketching. First step is the shape. I've drawn way too many dodos. Like, I love the dodo bird. I've drawn the living closest descendant of the dodo bird, which is like this really pretty, colorful pigeon type guy. And my brain is so full of bird names right now that I can't. I can't. I'll put it in there somewhere. Pictures and names. That's what editing's for. That's why editing's taking me so long. Because I think of a bird and then I'm like, I don't remember the name, and then I have to search back and try and find it. But there's so many birds to know. That's what I'm getting at. So many lovely birds. And the great auk is one of them that just is beautiful to me. So, if you're into penguins, I mean, penguins mate for life. They're a really cool animal. You got the emperor, you got the macaroni, you have the golden eye. There's tons of different types of penguins. Those are just the names I remember from my brain, but we also have, we have Ocean Bingo. I'll throw that up if you're interested in fun games, and that has a couple penguins in it too. If you're interested in bingo, it's a really beautiful looking board game as far as like board games go. I think they have an insect one, and they have different things, but I just wanted to draw this guy. And yep, I'm going for it. I'm gonna have a patch that's a little bit white, and I need to make sure that when I do this, oh, this needs to be longer still. I just don't think this is long enough. We're gonna go to the very edge with it. My white's gonna be really, really pale, and it may not show up well on camera, and it may not show up well when I go to photograph it for my Instagram to show people, you know, my progress. They discovered a couple years ago that these birds actually have 2 brood pouches. Like, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this bird. I'm here for it. Just need to make sure that when I draw it, and I need some sort of white patch here, don't I? That I'm doing it justice. You know? It's still sort of recognizable, and we're getting the gist of what I'm laying down here. Let's do the eye right over here maybe, and we'll put the lips, the mouth right there, and the white patch can be all wonky. I want that looking wonky because it looks more natural. Maybe it carves around the eye a little bit better. I'm really trying to get a sense of shape with this, and there is nothing for you to see. I apologize. This is so pale. But I really legit love this bird. So this bird was like in Scotland, and I think that's where the last one was killed. And their diet consisted mostly of fish, which would make sense if they were always living by the ocean. I'm going to start with the pupil. And I want a little bit of eye shine, so I'm going to carve the eye shine out like I'm doing a crescent moon. And it really helps if your pencils are sharp to get the fine details. Feeling very walnut browny here. Anyway, I'm going to layer this with some umber so it's a little bit brighter. I want it bright and welcoming. I don't want it. They have some like stuffed ones. There are some ones in natural history areas that you can like look at, but a lot of the eyes really look like almost doll toy eyes. You know, that kind of glass eye looking thing. So I'm not sure how accurate it is. You can go in search engines and you can look up what this actual bird look like. I find it beautiful. Penguins are just really cool, you know? God. There's an elephant bird. I don't remember the name of that one. That one is another flightless large bird that's extinct. That's also really interesting. So if you're looking to do something, this one isn't speaking to you, and you're bored of the dodo, you can type in like extinct flightless birds, and you'll get a list of about 15 or so. I almost feel like I want sepia with some of this. I'll come back in. That's what I'll do. And there's a list of a bunch that are really, really cool. there's a bunch of really large flightless birds in New Zealand, and I want to do one of those, I think. However, my pronunciation is trash. So I need to work on my pronunciation a little bit of some things from other areas, just to make sure that I am doing these birds justice when I talk about them, because I really don't know how to pronounce some of these birds. Like, I have no idea. I think some of them are like Maori names or something. So I need to make sure I get that correct. But they have some beautiful ones. Over there. Now you can start to see this bird a little bit come to life. We're going to do browns. We're going to do reds and carmines and some of these beautiful rich colors. You can always warm up your browns when you're illustrating by throwing in a layer of light red over the top. Experiment with some of these layerings. If you have only one brown colored pencil, experiment very lightly what red looks like over it, what yellow looks like over it, and what blue looks like over it. And you can really, really cool down, warm up your brown and change the scope of it, change the way it looks and feels and acts. And you get way more browns doing that, layering the primary colors really, really lightly. Really practice your layers game with some of this stuff, and you will be successful. I may layer a little bit of black over some of these. I want to be a little darker. I'm going around sort of the white, the little white bit on this guy. Anyway, it feels a little redundant to call it the Great Auk, but it reminds me of like Great Dane. Like, some things have to be said because they're that awesome, they're that great. So, just reiterating the facts. And I went to a natural history museum one time, and they had a mammoth, which was like made to size so you could see how big they actually were. And they had like a saber-toothed tiger, which was absolutely massive and crazy looking. Like, I wouldn't have done well back then. I'm just saying. Like, I would not have been able to forage and fight those guys off. I'd be the one on the cave wall going, let me draw that for you. No, I got this. I can draw that for you. You're gonna love it. Just wait. Definitely draw you winning. There's no way I would have been successful. So, when it comes to layering, pull out one color you use a lot of, then practice the 3 primary colors on top very, very lightly. So if you only have one green, or you have a green that isn't working for you, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, lay out a line of green that's pretty thick, and then make some notes. Write what the colors are if you need to be reminded, and then do a light layer of yellow on top. Then you'll get a nice chartreuse. Do a nice light layer of blue on top. You will get a cooler green. It could lean into teal depending on how hard you press. Do a red. It will start to look a little bit more olive, a little bit more brownish green. Be real careful with the red though. You don't want to muddy it too much, but you want to try and create as many greens as possible. And then obviously like black if you want a darker shade of green. If you don't have one, if you're doing a low buy or a no buy and you're trying to maximize the amount of supplies you have, learn layering. Absolutely learn layering to multiply the amount of product you have. You will always be glad you did. I want some darker lines in here. Yeah. So even if you have like a set of 12, you really own more than that. You can multiply that with layering and figuring out. It's going to take a little bit more time since you don't have some of the convenience colors, some of the convenience shades. But as you practice, as you keep working, and this is the joy of practicing and working, is you really realize what colors you gravitate towards, what subject matter you gravitate towards, and then what actual colors would help you as a convenience color. Like I know, I know myself, I don't need any more oranges in my life. I just don't need any orange. So to go out and like buy a set of a different colored pencils, all those oranges would be an absolute waste. I don't use orange enough. I don't. If I'm specifically doing like Junebug or a drawing challenge where there's insects and I'm trying to include more beetles and things, I will get to using orange, but that is not a color I gravitate towards. Tigers. Tigers are it for me. Like that's where I draw the line. I love a good tiger, but again, I just don't do enough orange. So where I need convenience colors are browns and dark greens are really, really helpful to me. Obviously, some of mine are getting really, really small. And next summer, when I go to buy supplies, I will probably be getting a few more colored pencils and things. Just because they are something that's easier for me to use up than watercolor. I just don't work big enough for watercolor to continually buy them. Oh my gosh, this is turned into a no-buy talk. And this is supposed to be about extinct birds. If you are new to my channel, hi. I did a no-buy art supply for all of 2022. There's a playlist. It's over 40 videos long. I checked in. I talked about stuff. Like I came to tons of realizations. One of those is unless I'm doing monochromatic with my watercolors and I'm doing it every day and I'm only using one tube, I just don't go through it fast enough. I just don't do it because I typically do like A5s. A4s is fine. It'll still take me, 3 hours to fill a page with watercolor depending on what I'm illustrating. And I have a playlist if you want to see some of my previous October things where I just used indigo watercolor. And then I could see like, wow, I really just don't go through watercolors fast enough. And again, I don't lean into super warm colors. Like I really love earthy colors. So some of my pans they're older and they're going to stay that way because I'm never going to use them up. And we're all right with that because I don't go on spending sprees buying tons of watercolors ever. So that's sort of where it's at. And I love this bird. And I love this bird in all kinds of weird colors. And I just have to add warm red to it. Again, part of it's creative licensing. In time, you will forgive me. But I just find this bird to be so pretty. I want to include all the different things. And I can't tell, like some of this, if this is just how the bird is or how the bird's been stored, or again, this is why I'm like trying not to use like one specific reference photo because I can't tell looking at this if the bird's like fallen apart or if that's part of the actual patterning or what's going on with the bird. So I'm trying to figure that out. And I'm not sure. So it's going to be a little bit slapdash till I figure out the blending and leaning into that. I probably should get started on the beak so you can see what that looks like too. That would be nice for everyone. That's kind of the cincher, isn't it? The beak. So I'm going to outline this guy in black, but I think, I don't know. Again, I'm going to make this up. So it's just going to be a lot of black and then a lot of me pressing down as hard as I can to get the darkest value. And then at some point, I'm going to lighten it up and not press so hard. And it's just going to look really dark gray, I think, and shiny. Gosh, it's I'll never tire of talking about this. How pretty this bird is. I know everybody has their absolute favorites, and I know a lot of people really, really love peacocks and swans. I'm here for this one. I don't know why. I can't help. Somebody has to like this guy, so it's gonna be me. I would have loved to see one in real life, you know? Like doing its thing, walking around, laying some eggs, having some babies, living its best life. That would have been really cool. But such as it was, I am thankful for all the ones that were able to be preserved. The amount of information that they have about them, I think, is absolutely wonderful. It kind of has a little warmer at the tip, maybe. I'm thankful for science, for people that maintain the extinct stuff, that research that do a lot of the work, that, you know, and people put this information up, and then artists and creators like me can go, oh, that's what it looked like. Again, I'm going off multiple reference things, so I'm trying to I'm trying to figure this out. There's no manual for some of this, you know? You're kind of reaching in the dark. The Tasmanian wolf is another one that I've drawn before, that I have given wings to. That one is even harder because you can't see. I really wanted, when I went to draw that one, I wanted a 360 view. I wanted to see it from all sides. I wanted to see what it looked like from behind. And I just couldn't find a good reference of that. They had those in a zoo. There's like photos of that one in the zoo. Like the last living ones. I don't know what they're doing. I didn't read enough about it. I don't think I had time in August of whatever year that was. I can never remember what I'm doing. But my idea of a dragon is just adding wings to amazing animals. That's my idea of mermaid too. That's like a cheat. Just add a tail to animals you think should be mer animals and call it mermaid. That was a fun year. I think that was 21. I took a tarantula hawk, which, if you're not familiar with what that is a wasp. It's a nasty one. Not nice. And I turned one into a mermaid because, yep, sure did. I turned a hawk into a mermaid. Yeah, I got real weird with it. I don't know. I've done mermaid way too many times. That's a drawing challenge that, like, I'm so burned out. I need to find more things to do with my life. We're going to do a line in here, I think. Enough references show sort of the same types of things. I know that it's not just that one, that it's a feature they all have. Do you know what I'm getting at? Like, it's a tough sell. I'm making these things up. Oh, isn't it pretty? It's coming along. I feel the need to talk to him, to tell him stories. You are loved. You are missed. Okay. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe nobody's told him in a long time. I will be the one to tell you. Oh dear, great auk. You're amazing. Get some fur in there, have that blended in. I'm just trying to blend things in, blend in lines, blend in colors, have it look more seamless, more realistic, have there be shadow, have there be light, have there be depth to some of this. Like, it's tough. Like, there's not a lot of illustrators and folks like setting the standard for the great auk illustration here. Again, if you want more information, if you want more references, if you want more stuff, the dodo is definitely more widely drawn, discussed, and there's more scientific like illustrations of that one if you're trying to like figure out what different pieces parts look like. I've just done that one too much, and I think this one is prettier. You're so pretty. This is where you think I finally lost it. She's drawn too many birds. Pull her out. She's getting weird. Tell her to take a break. Nope. I do need to find another funny bird though for next Friday because I'm digging the funny bird thing. It was definitely awesome. Awesome sauce. Okay, let's... I mean, it's starting to come together, isn't it? A little bit, piece by piece. And again, I am just changing the amount of pressure I am adding to these colored pencils. If I want darker color, I press down harder. If I want lighter color, I'm lighter with it. That's just, it comes from a lot of practice. So don't be bashful. Practice with your colored pencils. Practice how you hold them. Practice everything about them. Practice blending. Practice adding pressure. Practice figuring out what feels right. You know, if you start getting hand cramps from a certain position or the way you're holding it, you can get, you know, holders. I have this one. It's like a Sonic something. Jet Pens sells it. There's different grips. Like there's all these little grippy things you can get if you're getting hand cramps and stuff. And there's like wrist supports and hand supports and things you can also look into. If your hands are starting to bother you while you draw, while you create. The idea of this is not to see whose hand falls off first. Part of, you know, drawing and creating is also taking care of the parts of you that do the drawing and the creating, so take care of your hands. You know, that may be something you have to remind yourself. You know, have lotion on your desk. Make sure you have different types of hand supports, different types of mittens and gloves and protective things. Drawing every day can be, it can be hard on the hands. I have a lot more trouble with it when I do fine liner. That is where I get my worst hand cramps, and it's just how I hold fine liner pens and the angles and the things I do with them. It's definitely different. And my hand starts to acknowledge that after an hour. So I have to be very cognizant of what I am doing and make sure I'm not hurting myself and doing permanent damage. I'd like to keep doing this. Keep drawing, keep creating. I'll add some warmth in here. Need to add some undercoloring here. Some of this can go a little over. Some of this can go a little under. We'll see. We'll see. We'll get this going, and hopefully you'll get the idea of what I'm going for with this whole thing. And I am just following shape and line and trying to figure out like how far things go and how far they don't, and then trying to color match just by looking like that's black, but gosh, it has red undertones. So that's why I'm adding carmine to a bunch of this stuff to warm it up. And I apologize for the traffic noise. It's a nice day. It's a Sunday. People tend to drive around more, you know. So, family events and things going on today, which are tons of fun. But everybody's out and about. So. I'm just going to keep coloring, adding value. Try to do this bird justice a little bit. Anyway, are you following a Birdtober prompt? Are you even doing birds this month? Maybe next year, because I've kind of decided that I like doing a video a day for October. Like this is a good month for me to do this. Next year or 2025, I don't know. We'll get into what next year's going to look like in January, but it'd be fun to do a watercolor thing every day. I know a lot of folks love watercolor and watercolor tips and stuff. We could definitely do that. I don't mind. I don't know that it's going to be birds again. It might be creepy themed. Just because, I don't know. Like, I can do 40 birds in a row. But then I really, really want to do something else. Like, I start craving something else. So I really need to figure out. Like, birds aren't my main passion in life. They're just not. So I have to figure out. I want to lighten some of this. What I can do that doesn't get me too bored. I don't want to be bored. Bored is discouraging. I don't like being bored. So that's why I'm trying to spice up these birds. We're getting there. Can you tell we're getting there? We're totally getting there. Here, I'll draw the neck. You can see. We're getting there. I am just pressing down as hard as I can. Would I like a Vanta black colored pencil? I would. A long time ago, I'll find it, link it. I did a playlist about different like weird pigments in history. And they're short, they're like 10-minute videos. It was before I had editing software. And I talked about black and Vanta black, which is like the darkest black. And they're worried about giving it to folks because they're worried folks are going to like paint holes in the ground and like freak people out and cause accidents and stuff. But for some of us artists, it would just be really, really nice to have really, really dark, rich black art supplies. Be a lot of fun. I don't know. I have over 500 videos. If you can make sense of them, you're doing better than I am. I eventually need to make more playlists and like clean that up and even that out, but that takes a lot of time. Like an absurd quantity of time, like more than you'd think. There's some weird things in YouTube in making videos that I'm just like, why does this take this much time? It shouldn't. This is ridiculous. And then you realize why no other YouTuber does that. Because it's just too much. And nobody has that kind of time unless they have a team. Like folks that have teams and folks that help them edit and put things together and they just send stuff to them and then go back to working on their art. Like they're doing good, because honestly, while video editing like is interesting, and it's not difficult, like I thought it was gonna be super hard. It's just not. It's not hard. At least not the way I do it, or the software I have, or whatever. But it's the amount of time. Like I would rather spend it creating than editing. Like I would rather draw than edit, if that makes sense. Like I didn't go into school to be an editor, a video editor. So it's kind of a weird chunk of time. Like I'll probably spend an hour editing this video and making sure I have references and everything I'm talking about popping up so you can visually see, because we're all visual here pretty much. That's why we're art channel. We're all visual learners. it'll take an hour, and that's just like an hour I could be drawing more stuff and planning to draw more stuff. Like planning takes time, and organizing takes time, and publishing takes time, and video editing takes time, and putting it on social media takes time. Like, and then you're like, well, then when am I gonna draw? Like, I want to draw, I want to create. And then you realize that you've created a full-time job for yourself when you wear all the hats. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, the people that have teams and stuff, I would love to be able to delegate video editing to somebody else and be like, okay, bye, I'm going back to drawing. Birds. But that's not happening. So, at least not yet. I don't know if I'll ever get to a place or space where I could have and hire folks to help me with my channel, to help me do the bits so I can do the more important portions. I mean, that would be amazing, but I just don't. I don't know if this is ever going to get that big that I could make money from people watching an actual video. And then, because you have to have over 1,000 subscribers, which I have. Thank you. I appreciate you. You are all wonderful and the best people in the world, and we all know it. And then you have to have 4,000 watch hours in a year, in a calendar year. That is a rescue helicopter. Yeah, it's gonna get louder before it gets quieter. I don't have 4,000 watch hours. I cannot monetize my channel. At some point I may be able to, but I'm not there. And this is going to be the white bits. This little triangle here. So I need to figure out, because this is going to be darker to lighter, but this is darker because it's in shadow, right? Right. You're here with me on this. So. And I need to make sure I'm not wiping my hand through it and smearing it too much. This one's getting messy. Messy, messy, messy. And I'm not really a fan of the amount of white showing through of the paper. So I'm definitely going to have to add more layers to this. And I just don't feel like a straight line is doing it for me. There we go. That looks a little bit more fun. Maybe he comes out a little bit. We see the bottom of what I'm even doing? Alright. Okay. We're going to start with a darker brown, maybe black, and then as it comes out, we're going to do lighter, 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 lighter. Furs and things. Gosh, birds are fun. Okay. What's your favorite bird in the entire world? I want to know. I'm so curious. This is my favorite extinct bird. I have to put them in categories because there's just like too many. There's way too many. My favorite bird in the entire world. I don't think, oh god, a peregrine falcon's pretty cool. If you've ever watched some of the TV shows they have about them, where they like spin as they fly and they 5Gs of like raw power and all that, that's pretty like amazing. But I like owls too. I really have a thing for owls. I'm not gonna lie. There will be an owl. Warning. It's coming and you cannot stop it. I pretty much try and throw owls into everything I do. Try and throw an owl in if I can get away with it. Sometimes it's a reach. Sometimes I don't care. Yeah, owls are a ton of fun. So, I thought it would be fun one year. And I don't know how I would do this. Would be just a watercolor skulls. Like, are you into skulls? Like, I'm into skulls. Like, some of them are really cool. I did last October, I did a human one, and then I did a hippo skull. I found a really good reference because I have no idea what these skulls look like. So I'm definitely gonna have to lean into internet references because I have no idea. And they were so much fun to watercolor. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just enjoyed it immensely and thought, well, dang, this is what I should be doing my entire life. I should be watercoloring skulls. I feel like maybe I've denied myself for too long, and it's time to step up and really reach out and try all the weird things, like a longhorn skull. Like, oh my god, like how amazing would that be? I would need like a horizontal thing to do that type of skull, I think. I might add black. I just don't think this is dark enough. Like, they're not this rich brown. Like, I wish they were, they're not. I think we have to layer a lot of black on here. So, let's do that then. But gosh, wouldn't that be fun? A bird skull. That would be fun to draw, huh? I've done bird skulls. I painted one on a... God, was that a shell in June for Game of Shrooms? I did a bird skull. I did it. It was miniature. It was very, very tiny. Miniatures are hard. I don't care what people say. Miniatures are very, very difficult. And you think, well, you're not drawing very big. It won't take you very long. Oh my god, that's not true. Whatever people say, miniatures are difficult. I have mad respect for miniature artists because my eyes are like, oh, why are you so mad at me? What did we do? We apologize and we promise not to do it again. Yeah, no, my eyes are not a fan. So, I definitely think I'd have to work big if I were going to do a watercolor thing, like an A4 maybe, just so I had space. Those would be long videos. Watercoloring isn't quick. I don't care what people say. It's not fast. Some things can be fast when you're creating and stuff, but like, it's not quick. You're starting to see him come together. Okay, I'm gonna like call it quits for this video. This video is all over the map. Welcome to Sunday. My brain's a little... I love the Great Auk. That's all you need to know about this for the takeaway. Is extinct birds are awesome. This one is amazing. It's a weird one. It's worth a gander. I will link articles about it. You know, recent discoveries and things they're realizing about why this bird is so fascinating. And you can check that out and some other things that I will link. I hope you enjoyed this. All over the map. Again, I'm wiping my hand through some of the pigment. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.